Hi everybody and welcome to my Unruly Housewife channel. Today I'm going to show you how I made these adorable little books for my doll's house, or you could use them for any 1 in 12, any size project really. I do what it's 1:12 ratio, isn't it, for a doll's house? Let me bring these here a bit. Any small little projects that you want to make mini books for, I'm going to show you how to make them out of polymer clay. And they're really sweet. They've got words on joy, bits like that, and they've got little pages and everything. Now I'm in a bit of a muddle today because yesterday our cat Reginald, had a horrible accident, and he's got to have part of the bottom quarter of his tail amputated tomorrow, so I'm a bit shaken up. I thought I promised to do his tutorial, so I'm going to do it anyway, and just send Reggie your best wishes, huh? Okay, so there's the books, and that's what we're going to make. I'm going to put them back in their little bag. Now, I think the main secret to doing this myself, is to cure the middles first. That's my advice to you. So here are the middles of the books that I've made, and oh dear, this one's got a bit of clay. I was practicing with this one. I managed to get clay in between the pages because I'm a genius. Don't do that. But they're all nice and hard. I baked them for on 130 for 30 minutes because I'm using Primo. And in case you wondered, my setup is like this. Put them in a baking tray like that. I put that on top. First I put this baking tray in the oven with the oven thermometer. Not that. When I see that get to 130 on my oven and on the thermometer, then I take it out, put this in like this, and put it back in for the required amount of time, and that is how I do it. So these are the book middles, and I'll just show you quickly how I make them. I like to get my clay, and this is Primo white, and the blue that I'm going to use for the covers is Souffle, and it looks completely the wrong colour in this light for some reason, but quite a nice blue. You can roll it a little bit. It's quite nice if you use this to flatten it, get a more even shape. It's just an acrylic block that people use for stamping cards and things. And once you've got it to the desired thickness, you can cut it with your tissue blade, or I use these, which are leather cutters, which lots of people have. You get loads in a box, and they're not too dear. They're on Amazon. Even that tiny one, which I love. I love making tiny books. So I'm going to use this. The good thing about using this too is you get like nice uniform size books. So I'm cutting him out. Let's poke him out. And now I've done that, I can just shape it. Let me move these out of the way. Shouldn't we have baked clay around raw clay? So there it is. Sorry, this is all a bit out of order. I showed you how to bake it before I showed you how to make it. Let me just try and focus this in. So there it is, and the way that I do my pages, I take my tissue blade and I stick it into, look, the size looks more friendly to the idea. Stick it into there. Now my camera is right in the way, so bear with me. And you give it a good push and just go along. Page, top and bottom, obviously not the back. Do your pages, page. Mine's not very good today. I'm really out of sorts with worrying about Reg. But you didn't come here to be depressed. There's my pages, like that. And then you can give it another flatten with your acrylic block, just gently. Just flatten it out. If you bake it and you think it's a bit lumpy, you can always run it over a bit of damp paper. This is 1000. I'd probably go like lower, like 400 at least, and just rub each side when it's baked like that to make sure it's nice and flat. Or you can just go with it and have it be not flat. Who knows? That's there are my pages. Let's just fix that in a bit. Not very well, even though I did it really quickly and not very well, it still looks okay, right? I would probably take longer in reality. Okay, so that's how you make those. And what you do then is to bake them as I described, or as the packet describes, and I showed you what my setup is. So once they're baked, they look like these. And now I'm going to show you how I make the book covers. So this is souffle. I got the right Sculpey souffle, and it's really nice because it's really flexible and it's not at all sticky. But you can use Primo. I use Primo on some of those books. And you want to put your book on there. Get your tissue blade and go along. Now, I'm going to do it pretty close, but just leave a tiny gap. And then, obviously, I'm going to square up this edge. Do not work with a camera right in front of your face because you won't be able to see what you're doing. There it is. I'm going to start from there, roll it like that, and then cut it. It's about there. Let's try that. Does that fit? If I go off camera, it's because I'm trying to see. Yeah, I went off camera to square that up a little bit, but I'm sure you believe me. Okay, so now we've wrapped this in this, and already it's starting to look like a book. These corners always want to curl under, and I kind of encourage them not to, but they probably will a little bit anyway. Probably happens on a real book, right? I would probably leave more room at the top, but we're going to crack on. The stamps I'm using to decorate this are these kinds of things that you can get on Amazon, some small ones. They're reasonably good. Things like this, which you could use down the spine or whatever. Lots of funny little things. Funny little things that you might just use, like lay it on a part of it, spine on a part of it. You can do. I'm also really keen on using these stamps, which are easy to get on Amazon and not at all expensive. Noises off, like these. They're really good. And you can also use texture sheets, and I particularly like this Lisa Pavelka one, which is called Say It. And they're just really good quality, and the words, they've got great words on there, which I've got on some of my books, like joy and family and what else? Home. Just nice things. So if you could put a picture on the front of your book, if you were going to do that, I would say use this, something like this. Just lay your book on the flat, square this up more than I'm going to, just press. You don't have to go mad, like that. And if you're going to do a word down the spine, I would use something like this. And I've been very naughty and been using my tissue blade, so I'm going to use this today. This is hard, remember, because it's baked, so that's fine. And just give it a little rock, just there on there. Let's see if it worked. It may not have worked. Now I have a word on there, which I pressed a little bit too hard. What does it say, friends? Yeah, on the spine, and I have that on there. Now I've probably pressed too hard with the word, put this a little bit out of shape, but don't worry about it. This is just me demoing. You're going to take much more care, and you can use a tool just to get this lot to come out of it. And afterwards, of course, you can always like sand it a little bit if you want, but I think it's best to get it how you want it before it goes into the oven. And my top tip for this bit here is don't use liquid clay. Now you probably think, how's that going to stick to that there without liquid clay? And I am going to trim that. Some things I just can't ignore. I don't think it needs it. Mine have stayed on perfectly well. If you're using them for charms, then you might want to use some liquid clay or something, but I'm not. If my dolls pull their books apart, I should be very surprised. I'll be more worried that my dolls have come to life. Mine don't feel like they're going to pull apart, so you can spend more time trimming it. But do you see that? It's just really simple, and it does work. And if you don't do it too hard, like I did there, you get very little distortion really along the back. You just have to have a light touch, and it's the same with people who think, oh, fingerprints and stuff like that, but if you just have a light touch, you'll be fine. Yeah, okay, so this is thickness 4 or 5 on my pasta machine. I'm using thickness number 4 for this. You could use thickness number 5 if you're going to do a small book. And also you might want to antique the book inner before you start. I mean, if you're going to antique all of it, then fine, do all of it. But if you're not going to, you want the outside to just be bright. Dilute brown paint, paint it over, and then wipe it off almost immediately or immediately with a damp cloth, and it will go into between the pages there and just show them up more. So that's how I would do that. Now I'll show you how I decorate this. And what I do is I use Perfect Pearls. Now they've got some resin in them that bonds to the clay really well, and I don't think you need to seal these anymore. We are going to seal it, but you don't actually need to. So you get your Perfect Pearls, and let's just pop some of that onto there. I'll just do the front for the moment. Alright, I've gone a bit crazed there. Yeah, don't put that much on. Sometimes I just put it into the lid and you work out of the lid. Let's take this over here. Yeah, don't go as mad as I did. Let's change that paper. So there's your book with your Perfect Pearls on. I won't do the spine just because I'm saving time here. Oh, a word about the pages inside while I release this tape. The pages inside, when you come to bake them, if you want to, what you can do is poke in some findings. Whoops, just dropped my rolling pin. So a little eye pin like this, just trim it down, put it in before you bake the pages where you want it to be, and then you can put it back out and super glue it in, or if you put a bend in it when you're using it, that's good. And the other thing you can do with your findings, actually, which I nearly forgot to tell you, is you can use this to just make that little line that you get on a book to make the spine, like that either side. Wow. Sorry, this is also kind of out of order and abstract. So here's my book. I've got my Perfect Pearls on it, but it's not looking very distinct. So you just get some tape. Oh, where did it go? Do not throw your book on the floor. Why? You just get some tape and put it on your book. Flatten it on, just not too hard, just sort of firmly. And if you look at that, you've now got a much more tooled look to your gold. I cannot believe I dropped that book on the floor. You are watching a cat owner fall apart here. So there we go. Make a better job of it is my advice. You can do that, and afterwards, of course, we can run it back over that sandpaper, but once it's baked. So, but that's what you do. You put that into the gaps and you take off the remainder with tape. And here you are, you've got a nice little book ready to go into the oven. Faff around with these corners before you bake it, because that's the only chance you're going to get. And then put it in, get your whole tile. Leave it on the paper so it doesn't go shiny on the back. Oops. Put this little combo into the oven until it gets the right temperature. Once it does, add that and all your other books. I'm sure I make more than one, and pop that on top. Bake it for the manufacturer's recommended time, and you will end up with some little books. Now, well, because I used souffle, Primo souffle, it doesn't respond very well to sanding. It goes a bit white and peppery looking. I'm quite new to using it. I found it a bit discouraging, but you can buff it out apparently. I like to use sanding because look, you've got inevitably get some gold or whatever on the back. Don't know what that dent is. Let's pretend that doesn't exist. If you want to, you can seal it. And what I like to do, because I like to keep that matte look, is to use this, which works very, very well with Primo and with Souffle, I would imagine. Duraclear Ultra Matte. And just to remind you, once you finish them, they do look really nice. And I'm sorry it's been such a weird, oh dear, I'm sorry it's been such a weird one today, but I'm worried about my cat. He'll be fine, but I'm worried. There you go. And that's how you make them. One or two things to say. Please use a mask if you're using Perfect Pearls. I didn't bother, and I've had a really sore nose for a couple of days. It's not good stuff to breathe in. And, you know, open a window if you're varnishing, I imagine. I've no sense of smell, so nothing really bothers me. Yeah. There you go. Miniature books. And Mr. and Mrs. Chadwick, a couple that live in my house. They run a bookshop and stationery shop. I'm sure they'll enjoy having these on the shelves. And if you only do the spines, that's fine for the bookshelf. My husband moaned and said you should have some with things on the front. So yeah, I did that too. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that. And please like, subscribe, leave your comments and questions down below. And if I've forgotten to say something, please ask me, because I'm sure I have. All right, thanks very much for watching. I love you all. Bye-bye.